Alright, what I want to show you today is how you can monitor the usage of your WireGuard network using Pro Custodibus. In particular, I'll cover 4 questions you might have about the usage of any given host. Number 1, who has accessed this host? Number 2, when was the last time that someone accessed this host? Number 3, how much data has been transferred from the host? And number 4, from where was the host accessed? So, let's go to Pro Custodibus and let's click on the host link in the header to see our list of hosts, and let's navigate to the document store host. So from this host page, we can see who has been accessing our host, the document store, from this endpoints panel. And in this panel, we can see the list of all WireGuard peers who have accessed this document store host before. And we can see they've all used this WG0 interface. And we can see the IP address that each of these peers last used to connect to this document store host. And we can also get the answer to our question about when from this last handshake column, which shows us the last time that each one of these peers connected. And in fact, if we drill into this WireGuard interface on this document store host, we can get a little bit more detail about the last time that each of these peers have connected to the host. And we can use this byte sent and received by interface endpoints timeline to show us exactly when was the last time that each of these peers connected to this document store host. We can see that Bob's workstation was the last peer to connect a little while ago. We can see that Alice's laptop, she's used it to connect several times today. So this gives us a really nice visualization of when each peer last connected to this document store host. And it also basically shows us how much data was transferred between the host and each one of these peers. But if we want to get even more detail, we can drill into one of these peers and see this page, which basically represents the connection between a particular monitored host, in this case the document store, and a particular remote peer, Alice's phone. And this gives us a nice little timeline here in this top panel about when exactly data was transferred between Alice's phone and the document store host. And we can see that the document store host received some data in this via this orange line, and when the document store host sent data to Alice's phone, I would see how much data was sent via this blue line. And also in this activity panel, we can see the full log of all connections between this monitored host, the document store, and this remote endpoint. So we can see that the full history here. It also gives us an indication of from where the Alice's phone accessed this document store host. We can see that she used her phone via this Verizon Business IP address to connect to the document store. And this Verizon Business happens to be the internet service provider for the office that she works at, so that's no surprise. We can also scroll down here and see sort of a change log of all the changes that have occurred over time between this connection. And we can see that in the past, before she was using this Verizon Business IP address, she was using this Google IP address, presumably from her Google Fi connection on her phone. And we can even drill into this IP address to see more information about the history of the usage from this IP address, where we can see all the different peers, the different who have used this IP address to connect to various hosts in our WireGuard network. These happen to be all the other peers who are located at the same office as Alice. So that gives us a pretty good indication of from where these hosts have been accessed. We can also take a look at the alerts that Pro Custodibus will generate for us automatically related to usage. We can see that Pro Custodibus has generated an alert every time a new private key has been used for the first time to access our WireGuard network. We also get an alert when the first time that a private key was used to access a particular host, so that this is the first time that Juan's workstation was used, accessed the document store host. Not the first time that Juan's workstation private key was used at all, but the first time it was used to access this particular host. And if we look back through our alert history, we can see that we also got an alert the first time that any IP address in Colorado was used to access any of our hosts. So that's an example of a couple of alerts that Pro Custodibus will generate for us automatically related to usage. And that's how you can use Pro Custodibus to help you keep track of who, when, how much, and from where users are accessing your WireGuard network.